So it is happening again, lads. It's happening. This happened on, if I'm not mistaken, this was announced on the 1st of January last year. I think this was announced on the 1st of January for NBA, or for not for NBA, geez, I'm making me 2K videos. But for Caitlin Clark to be on the New Heights podcast. I'm pretty sure it was announced last year on the very start, at the very start of January.
You know, the NCAA, like they don't have...
It was the 2nd of January. So almost one entire year later, to the day, we are going to be seeing Caitlin Clark again by the looks of things.
Joining us today for a special edition of New News is the 6-foot guard from Iowa. She's the all-time leading scorer in NCAA history, the first overall pick in the 2024 WNBA draft. She's a two-time WNBA All-Star, 2024 WNBA Rookie of the Year, the 2024 Time Magazine Athlete of the Year, and she is the first and now last guest of New Heights in the 2025 season.
Oh, wow. They actually had her first and last for the same year. That's kind of crazy.
Let's go! 92%ers, please welcome back to the show, Caitlin Clark!
I'm back. I'm honored you guys brought me back on. I must have not have been too bad the first time, I guess.
Permanent invite.
That is one of the kind of crazy things, seeing Caitlin Clark back on New Heights, and I think a lot of people are talking about it. And it kind of makes a little bit of sense. It makes a little bit of sense because, do you remember what's been coming recently enough? If you guys don't know why a lot of people do the podcast rounds, why a lot of people start doing podcast rounds, they are announcing something. They're announcing something. And obviously that's not the only reason someone is going to do a podcast, but at the end of the day, it is a big reason. It is a reason. It's a reason why people will do it. And I think a lot of people are speculating that Caitlin Clark is going to announce her new shoe tomorrow. That is the speculation, is that Caitlin Clark is going to be announcing her new sneaker tomorrow, and that it's going to be on the New Heights podcast, which for me makes a lot of sense. It makes a ton of sense. It makes so much sense. It makes way too much sense that she would be announcing her sneaker, because it's set to release in spring. And again, I don't exactly know what months are spring in America. I'm blanking on it. What months are spring? Is May in spring? May somewhere in Ireland. Is May spring in America? Is May spring in America? I think May might be spring. So what they're doing is kind of smart by the sounds of things. It sounds like they're going to be releasing it before the WNBA season. So they're going to be releasing it kind of as a mid-year type thing. And for me, that makes a lot of sense. For me, it makes a lot of sense what Nike are doing. And I do think Nike, in fairness to them, they have done a good job when it comes to it of having Caitlin Clark, of like this launch for Caitlin Clark sneaker. They have, or like the kind of launch around this. I did a really bad job up to a point of promoting her. Like, it was bad enough that Connor McCaffrey was calling out Nike for it. Like, this isn't just like, a Caitlin Clark fan thing. It was bad enough that Caitlin Clark's boyfriend was calling out Nike for how badly they botched kind of everything around Caitlin Clark. And it was like, I can't remember what it was. There was something that happened where it was like, was it All-Star or something? But like I can't remember what the event was when Connor tweeted about it, where it was like, maybe it was a triple-double, where Nike tweeted about every other athlete they had signed. Every other athlete that they had signed for like how they started off the WNBA season, other than Caitlin Clark. Like, it was madness. It was absolute madness. But at the end of the day, like, they're not dumb. They have shareholders. Like, they can have whatever bullshit narrative they want, and they can want to push that. But It doesn't matter what narrative you want to push. Shareholders are all that matters. And Nike realized that Nike are not the signature athlete as a model of selling merchandise is not working the way it did back in the day. Like, it's not a license to print money anymore, like it was with Jordan, like it was with Kobe, like it was at a stage with LeBron. Like, you could release really shitty LeBrons, and people would have still bought them back in the day. You could have released really shitty Jordans, as we saw, especially in the early 2000s. Some of those Jordans, I like the 22s because I have nostalgia towards the 22s with MJ's face all over them. But at the end of the day, they're objectively not great shoes, even for their time. And they have not aged well. I still think the 23s have aged really well. But like the Jordan 2009s, they sold because Michael Jordan's name was on them. The Jordan 09s were probably the worst sneaker ever created. The one Dwayne Wade had as his like de facto signature sneaker. It's one of those things where you've got Dwayne Wade, and it still looked awful, but it still sold. Why? Because they had a signature athlete that people liked. As we remember, Dwayne Wade was like the original Steph Curry, as in Dwayne Wade was so popular that people were hooping in Converse. Kids were wanting to hoop in Converse. And like, this is, Shea's bringing it back. Shea's bringing Converse back. But that's the reality of the situation there, is that it's a tough situation all around for these players, and it's a tough situation to look at it from Caitlin's standpoint, from the standpoint of a lot of other like from Nike, where it's like she kind of is their last hope. And the way Nike are advertising this, absolutely. Like, it's not like Caitlin Clark is going to be the biggest, is going to be the biggest guest they have. Not even close. She's not even going to be close to the biggest guest that they have. Like Taylor Swift's being honest. Caitlin Clark could be on every single podcast for the entire year, every second podcast for the year, and it might not total the Taylor Swift podcast. Like, that's just the reality of the situation. Like, Caitlin Clark's still massive. Still a massive draw for the podcast, and still going to be one of the bigger guests that they have. But I would say absolutely that she is on the medium tier of their guests. She is definitely on the medium tier of their guests. But yeah, look, it is an interesting one here to see her being back. My guess is that it's for the shoe, because I think Nike are doing the podcast rounds, and I do think Caitlin Clark is a guest that the Kelseys liked having on, because they'll probably just talk about football half the time. So anyway, yeah, that is the video. Let me know what you guys think. I'll see you guys.